Aloha, I'm Kevin Morita, and this is my presentation on Alaska Airlines Accounting and Finance for AVIA 314 Principles of Aviation Administration for Liberty University. In this presentation, I will explain assets, liabilities, and equity. We'll discuss Alaska Airlines assets, liabilities, and equity along with their operational, investment, and financing cash flows, revenues, expenses, and net income. I have a quote from our reading assignment, and we'll discuss if Alaska Airlines is profitable or not, and I'll have works cited. Assets, stuff a company owns. It's cash, inventory, investments, property, their aircraft. Liabilities, stuff a company owes to a third party, wages, loans, dividends. And then we have equity, stuff a company owes to its investors, their stockholders. Assets equals liability plus equity. So if you liquidated a company's assets, paid off all liabilities, what you would have left would be your equity. All right, now we'll look at Alaska Airlines assets are $14.046 billion. They also have liabilities of $11.058 billion and an equity of just shy of $3 billion. If you take their assets of $14.046 billion, it equals liabilities of $11.058 billion plus equity of just shy of $3 billion. So it makes sense. So the Alaska Airlines assets, total current assets are roughly $4 billion. They also have a total property and equipment assets of $6.2 billion with total other assets of $3.8 billion. Majority of their assets are aircraft and other flight equipment, cash and cash equivalences, marketable securities. Alaska Airlines liabilities, total current liabilities is $4.3 billion. Long-term debt liabilities, $2.3 billion. And other liabilities and credits, $4.4 billion. Add that to their current equity of $2.988 billion. And now we have their total liabilities and shareholders' equity of $14.046 billion, which amounts to their assets for Alaska Airlines. So we have cash flow. Alaska Airlines operational cash flow of they were in the red with $234 million. Investments of $593 million, also in the red. They came in with financing of $1.98 billion of cash flow. Looking at consolidated statements of cash flows for Alaska Airlines, their net cash provided by operating activities is $234 million that they've used. Net cash used in investing activities, $593 million. Their net cash provided by financing activities was $1.981 billion. Alaska Airlines revenues, expenses, and net income. They had operating revenues of $3.566 billion, operating expenses of $5.341 billion, non-operating expenses of $65 million. They had an income tax benefit of $516 million. So total net income of a loss of $1.32 billion for Alaska. So looking at the consolidated statements of operations for Alaska Airlines, their revenues, $3.566 billion, mainly from passenger revenue, followed by mileage plan and other revenue. They also had a total operating expense of $5.341 billion. majority of that was wages and benefits. They also had a non-operating expense of $65 million income tax benefit. So they had $516 million of a tax break there. Total net income loss of a loss of $1.324 billion. So a quote from chapter 4 of our reading: "It is important to use realistic assumptions in order to create realistic expectations." That was found chapter 4, page 88. And I feel like Form 10K definitely utilizes that quote. So after reviewing Form 10K, is Alaska Airlines making a profit? That would be no, not at this time, and it's due to COVID. We're excited. I got most of my information from the Alaska Airlines website off of financial, their Form 10K, and I also utilize Essentials of Aviation Management. Well, that concludes my presentation, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.